I'll just indicate I'll put some further questions on that matter in on notice.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Senator Roberts, I know you have some questions. We are running over time, unfortunately. Can you...
Yeah, I can be pretty quick.
You can be pretty quick and put the balance on notice?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I can. Sterling First victims paid hundreds of thousands... First of all, thank you for attending today. Sterling First victims paid hundreds of thousands of dollars up front, believing they would essentially receive a 40-year lease in return. This would appear to be a long-term lease where the victims are better classified as tenants instead of investors. Can you explain why someone in this situation would be classified as an investor instead of a tenant?
Senator, I will try to answer that question right now, but can I just go back to the exchange I had with the Chair? There is an inquiry into these matters before the Senate in a few weeks, and ASIC will certainly be addressing all these questions very comprehensively then. For today's purposes, it's certainly true that they were tenants, but many of them invested in order to pay for their rental, if I can use that word, in their capacity as tenants. They made investments in preference shares or managed investment schemes of one form or another. And so for today's purposes, if I could just answer your question in that general way, they probably wore two hats. And they were a tenant, but in order to pay for their rent, they made investments which was intended to create a cash flow to pay for the rent. Now, we know that all ended very, very awfully for those people, and we will definitely be exploring this in much more detail during the inquiry. So I hope that suffices for today.
I can understand your position, and that does suffice for today. So they're wearing two hats. So the investor hat, aren't they required to be provided with a product disclosure statement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's a managed investment scheme that's been registered in accordance with the Act, they ought to have been provided with product disclosure statements. And as the inquiry...
Thank you.
As we work through the inquiry, we will be making submissions about PDSs and what we found and what we did in connection with stop orders. It'll all be part of the submission we make in order for a comprehensive story.
Thank you. So you're aware that the Sterling First victim did not get a PDS. And what's the current status of your investigation? If you could just tell me in detail.
Can I just go back to your earlier question? I'm not saying today whether they did or didn't get PDSs. This is very fact sensitive. I do acknowledge they should have got PDSs, but I'm not sure what the position was with individual investors. If you don't mind me.
So Senator Roberts, sorry to interrupt, but we are over time.
Could I just ask one question to the Minister?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Minister, did the government conduct an internal review of the way ASIC handled the Sterling First case?
No, Senator, because that review is on, investigation is ongoing.
Thank you, Mr. Longo. I appreciate your answers.